What's going on, everybody? Obstacles to opportunity for another installment. Wealth creates options and opportunity. So this is why I want to focus on wealth with you guys. What's going on, everybody? It's Obstacles to Opportunity. As you already know, we got the only channel out here on YouTube or any space for that matter where you can hotwire your mind and make things happen. All you have to do is have a vision and a mission. And today we're going to go over a great book that I was actually reading. And I want to tell you guys why it's important to focus on wealth creation. First off, let's give respects to the people, follow subscribers, and everybody who tunes in constantly on a constant basis. What's going on, Jordan? Jordan is always in our studio, always on the scene, always supporting us. I greatly appreciate it all day, every day. So let me start off by saying this. Let me go ahead and get that good background music going here and get that flowing. So the reason I wanted to focus today on actually going over the wealth creation is because it's essential. Wealth creation, not riches, not cash flow, not quick cash, but talking about finance is very important on this channel. And I know sometimes people talk about finance, but they really don't dive deep into the details. So when it comes down to just even financial intelligence, I'm constantly reading books that's pertaining to investments, all shape, forms, and fashions, whether it's the stock market and whether it's real estate, or whether it's just learning about the macro of the economics or the economy. It's always essential. It helps me develop my strategy and develop methods in order to gain more capital. Now, money is a good thing. I know we all heard growing up, money is the root of all evil, etc. But money is neutral position, right? It's no different. You can have a helicopter, you can decide to save lives, or you can decide to destroy lives with the helicopter. Helicopter didn't do anything. So the same thing goes and applies for money. So let's hop into this book because I want you guys to actually see what I'm talking about so we can share this information. It's very necessary. So let's hop into this book. Now, I got this book, and like I get a bunch of books from Bigger Pockets. You guys already know I utilize Bigger Pockets all the time. Bigger Pockets is where it's at. If you're not using Bigger Pockets, then you're not where it's at. And so there's some confusing words, We have gross spendable income, and then we also have equity income, tax shelter. And these are the elements and these are the benefits for getting into real estate. So much people, or a lot of people, talk about getting into many different types of things, right? They're talking about whether you should get into the stock market, whether you should get into cryptocurrency. And I'm going to tell you how to get into wealth. And majority of the time I hear from people, I don't have the money. But that's not the reason not to get into real estate. Actually, you leverage way more money in real estate. So you do more with less in real estate. So that's why it's vastly important. There's people out there, shout out to the K brothers, who went from 0 to 75 units with zero money down. I say that again, 0 to 75 units with zero money down. So while you have a majority of people on the internet, or some people on the internet telling you, hey, invest in crypto, invest in the stock market, I'm telling you to invest in real estate. Why? Because if you don't have crypto or if you don't have stocks, as of now, one thing that you do have is a house. Unless you're homeless, you have a house that you're living in, whether you're renting or whether you have ownership, and redirecting that primary investment that you already have or that liability that you currently have, meaning the renter, is something that you already pay. It's already a large expensive. So when we talk about financial intelligence, it's looking at not how much money you spend at the movies or on Uber Eats. It's how much money you're spending now. So we're going to go to the largest expenses most people have. And most people have the largest expense that comes out of their check is their accommodation and the next transportation. So we're going to target those two areas. And then we're going to dramatically increase the available money to somewhere around $600 or $500 just by redirecting that investment alone. Or maybe even have you in a situation where you're not paying rent at all. So that's why it's important to address not the little small spending you do here and there, of course, that has to be under control. Hopefully, you're not buying Ciroc bottles at the club. But the most important aspect to focus on is that what? That most expense, the largest expense that you have currently. So that's the one we want to address. That's the one we do address on this channel. So we try to redirect it. So that's why I said real estate, not because I want you to acquire 8 houses that you currently, while you're renting or whatever the case may be, but it gets and allows you to address your situation, your waste of money, the burning of your cash via renting or the burning of your cash in some shape, form, or fashion by maintaining that single family home that you own and live in. So let's go here. So we're going to go to the book and why real estate is a good investment. All right. So let's hop into this book, Why Real Estate is a Good Investment. This brings us to why this book was written. Of all possible investments that are within the reach of the average investor, none offer the combination of outstanding benefits that are available to real estate investors. And do you want to know something? Banks and life insurance companies recognize this fact. So they invest your money in real estate. While they pay you 3 to 6% for the use of your money, they are making 10 to 20% on it. The purpose of this book is to show you how to own real piece of the rock and cut out the middleman. Why is real estate such a good investment? It offers the investor 4 different returns or ways of making money on his investment. So what is stocks? Stocks is dividends and the appreciation of the price. That's what you get paid for stocks. Boom, that's it. And then you get capital tax. So you get taxed on those gains. That's it. I named 2. Let me give you a 4 if you want one. Now watch this. We'll explore each first and then look at the typical example of a real estate investment. So we're going to hop in. Gross spendable income. Let's go here. Investors also refer to this as cash flow, or how much money you have to spend at the end of the year after all operating expenses and mortgage payments have been made. We are referring to this as gross spendable because we have not taken income tax consequences into consideration at this point. Remember, we are going to be talking about after tax return. So after the taxes, what's your return, right? As in the example of the savings account, the investor is actually earning only 4 to 5% after taxes, and not the 6% he thought he had, right? It is important to know how much money you have left after taxes, not before. So that cash flow, that extra money after paying all the expenses, after paying everything off, how much money do you got left? That's the important part that we're looking at, right? This is why I'm telling you to get into real estate. Keep listening. Equity income, all right? And this is also referred to as equity buildup or principal reduction. So, example, let's say I borrow $100,000. Let's say I borrow $100,000. Now, as I pay off that $100,000, right? Not me, the renters, because remember, they're paying you rent. So as the renters, and I take that rented money and pay down my mortgage, I pay down my principal. There's an interest payment and insurance and principal payment. As I pay down that principal, I'm paying down the underlying borrowed money, that $100,000. So when I take that money from the renters and I make my mortgage payments and cover the expenses for operating the actual property, that builds equity for me. So I'm building up equity. I own the piece of real estate. So they're paying off that $100,000. So they're building up, quote unquote, a bank inside your house that's going to have available funds that you could utilize at later points. That's not appreciation. That's equity. That's debt pay down. That's principal. So appreciation is another factor of growth. So we're going to get into that, but let's, I kind of wanted to help explain that a little bit. So let's go back into the big view, right? So here we go. Anyone who has a mortgage on a home or car recognize that each time a payment is made, a certain portion of that payment is for the interest charged by the lender. and the balance goes toward reducing the balance on the loan. That's the equity, right? In a real estate investment, this equity income can be a sizable amount, although you cannot spend it each year. When the time comes to sell your property, you owe less on the mortgage, so you will receive more money at closing. It's like putting money in the bank each month. And then, of course, like I said, that money you can also borrow. You can take a loan out against it. It's called a heat lock. So you can borrow that money and utilize that borrowed money to buy more property, thanks to the renters. Like in a trading day when he said, thanks to the Sandman. So it's going to be a new property paid for thanks to the Sandman. Now, this is one of the most important parts because a lot of people work and they get taxed, and their W 2 money is taxed, right? Okay. So your W 2 money is taxed. And how many months do you have to work in order to pay that bill that you basically give to the government, the tax money? It's almost sometimes like 3 months, 2 months out of the year, you work just to pay taxes. That's a good amount of months. So let's start finding avenues. Now, entrepreneurship, that you're not going to get taxed in tax shelter, right? In chapter 10, you will see in detail how real estate offers this advantage, and that is not offered by any other common investment vehicle, not stocks, not bonds, not crypto. You will see how some real estate investments will not only produce an excellent spendable income, all of which may be tax-free, but owning the investment will produce a paper loss, which the IRS may allow you to write off against other real estate income. Paper loss. So because of that paper loss that's filed with the IRS, showing a loss, that rental income that you receive, let's say that $100,000 property is $100,000 property is generating 20, 23,000, 25,000. You're not going to pay taxes on that because of the paper loss. So that's where you can generate money and make money and not pay taxes on that generated money, unlike being an entrepreneur. So this is a part right here, appreciation making. Inflation work for you instead of against you. So we're going to hop into this part because this is the primary part. And I think I want to focus on this to get you guys to understand the essential part about investing in real estate, right? This is going to be an eye opener. Let me see if oh my gosh. Instead of against you. So here we go. I want you guys to really hear this. And then once I get down to the second part, your guys are going to be in for a rude awakening. The fourth and best is yet to come, appreciation. Like inflation, you do not see it, but it's there. Only now it's working for you instead of against you. So earlier in the book, he talks about inflation and he talks about taxation. So these things are elements that reduce the return on your actual investment. So because of, let's say, taxation earlier, right? You thought you were getting 6% from the bank, but you really end up getting 4 or 3 just because of taxation. And then you got appreciation, right? That's when, let's go 10 years back. Property used to be way cheaper than it is today. Or let's go way back. A jug of milk used to be cheaper than where it is today. So that's what the inflation is, right? So the house keeps up with the inflation. So that's why it's a good investment vehicle. So how does it work? Each year, because of inflation, your real estate is appreciating in value. Those of you who own a home, for example, would you sell it today at the same price you paid for it 5 or 10 years ago? And the answer is no. So let's zoom in on this part right here. I think this is the most essential part right here. Let me see. Because we get into all these other things. We get into all these other businesses, right? We get into all these other waves about Bitcoin and about Dogecoin and about investing in AMC and all these other little trends. But we are missing out on the basics. And that's pretty sad, especially coming from something like the pandemic, where we're sitting up here talking stupid. We're talking crazy talk. People out here worried about AMC, Bitcoin, Crypto, instead of worrying about the necessities of life after a pandemic, after a lockdown, you're not worried about the necessities. Now, let me tell you what I mean by necessities. How is real estate the necessities? If you don't know that, hibernation is required by a good amount of people. But let me explain what I mean. So, why does real estate or why does well located real estate continue to appreciate, right? Why does it continue to go up? Perhaps some statistics will help. An estimated 50% of the land in the United States is owned by the government, federal, state, or local. It's not available for the general public use. I'm going to say that again. An estimated 50% of the land in the United States is owned by the government, federal, state, or local. It is not available for the general public use. What is that thing we called earlier? Supply and demand. Everybody knows that. That's the 101, right? Now, here we go. 38% is considered non usable. So 38% of the land is considered non usable. Those numbers are looking bad already, right? We got 88% of the land being non usable because of government use or because it's just non usable. It's not good land to utilize. Now we got 3% is currently being used for urban living. So 3% of the United States is being utilized for urban living, cities, metropolitans, etc. And then you got 9% is still available for use. So you got a measly 12% of good, valuable land that you could utilize in the United States of America. 12% of it. And you're not getting in it. You're worried more so about some cryptocurrency in space that's supposedly going to be utilized to purchase goods with no ledger, with blockchain technology. But you're not worried about the 12% of land that actually is available. And land in real estate, land is not being recreated. But I can create new coins every day. I can create the Doge coin. I can create the Foot coin. I can create, and the list goes on and on of what type of coins I can create. I could just program, make it happen. But land, I can't create that unless I'm in Dubai creating one of those island lands, with the sand. And what does this availability of land mean in the context of a growing population? And so if we look at this in the 1769s, right, there were about 4 people in the original 13 colonies. If you go to 1900s, it's about 131 years later, there was 76 million people, right? And then when you go to 2007, the population crossed 300 million. So what does this mean? In terms of existing land values, it means that existing land is becoming more valuable each year. It explains why investment of real estate, whether it's in single family homes, apartment buildings, office buildings, shopping centers, warehouses, or even vacant land, has become the most secure and profitable way to beat inflation and just to get wealthy, right? We, well, it says we inflation. I don't know what that means. So we keep having babies, but God quit making land a long time ago. So existing land is most parts of the country is appreciating at a rate greater than that of inflation. The supply is limited. So getting some vacant land right outside of a good metropolitan and sit and wait because the city continues to expand. Even in Austin itself, Austin has seen appreciation in places like San Marcos, Bistro, Taylor. These are just internal areas and states, or excuse me, counties or cities that have seen appreciation just due to the ever expanding Austin metropolitan area and the suburbs that it's forced to come out even further. Studios are being built right outside of Austin in Bastrop, film studios from California, or you have the actual Tesla facility being built outside of Austin in Travis County. So you have all this development. And now imagine how much bistro, right? The land and the acres that they just purchased, which was like 554 acres used to cost or did cost 30 years ago. And now how much it cost them to purchase or acquire that land. I think they believe they did it from the state. So you see what I'm saying? The state owns the vast majority of the land. This is why it's important to focus on building up your real estate portfolio. Now let's hop into the chat. And you mind dropping that link? Which link is that? Is it the link for the book? And if it is, yes, I'll put it in there. And have you seen them 3D printing houses? I have. I have seen them 3D printing houses a little bit in America. I've seen it done a little bit in America. And on a large scale, I have seen a lot of it done in China, the development of the technology of 3D printing. I mean, they definitely have great technological abilities to build out not only just infrastructure, but big mega housing projects like that. And, they pretty much produce a lot of the actual machinery. So I have seen that. That it's going to cut down costs. So we have 3D printing. And then we also have container homes, what I call steel homes. So container shipping containers that have been repurposed into actual houses. Now that's what we do in the West, but in China, they actually build them from the ground up and then just make them houses from the beginning. Unlike some or a good amount of shipping container homes in America that are basically like, hey, look, we're going to take this shipping container and then repurpose it and then make a house out of it. So they just build it straight from the beginning to be a house. They doing it in Cali Desert. Yes, big time, both in Cali. Of course, there's a housing issue. So, and there's a lumber issue currently, but that's just, currently. But nevertheless, housing has always been an issue of developing and building more houses. There's more tech companies than there's going to be, actual construction companies that build houses. It's a lot more intense. So if there's easier ways to make money, people are going to go in that direction. And you got to remember, real estate companies or construction companies don't get to keep the house, so they just make the money off their sales and they keep it pushing. So a lot of people are just creating technologies to help and assist and to support and build up the program. So when we go into real estate, I want to let people know that real estate in America has been developed to a large extent. There's so many different types of services and products that facilitate real estate and purchasing real estate. It's ridiculous. From the title company to the lender to the insurance companies to the actual consulting companies that will rezone, make sure your property is properly zoned, make sure that they assist you in the process, from property management companies to contractors and to technology that is utilized for home inspections. And then it facilitates a repair report, and then it, like, of course, sends that to contractors. So they integrated the technology and integrated massive amounts of options for you. And not to get into real estate, it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. There's databases that are created, Zillow, Redfin, to help you with the process. There's databases that are created to help you become a real estate investor, PopStream, Bigger Pockets, etc., social networking platforms. I mean, the time to invest in real estate is the best time ever. There's so many people with many different strategies that they utilize to invest. And actually, the book that I was just reading, a guy basically laid out a path from $1,000 to $1 million. And it's doable because, like I said, the most important part in real estate is the ability to leverage. And I showed you guys that sheet before on how wealth is created in the United States. And where did the majority of the wealthy individuals come from? The bottom 90%. They all came, or a good amount came, from real estate. And where did the wealth come from in the stock market? It usually came from the 1% or the 10% because they have massive amounts of funds. You have to buy value for value. $100 gets you $100 worth of stock. $100 in real estate might land you $350,000 property. It's different. $100 might land you in a multi-unit, in a duplex, subject to, right? Lease to own. where a portion of the rent money goes towards the down payment. I mean, you already paying rent. Why not map it out in a way where you're going to gain ownership and it's a duplex or a triplex or a quad? Gain ownership, pay rent, portion of the rent goes towards the down payment or subject to, right? Or seller financing. And then you purchase the property straight from the current owner instead of just renting it. Redirect your expenses. This is how we're going to help you save. This is how we're going to help you become wealthy. And wealth creates options and opportunity. It's important, it's vital for you to be financially intelligent and not in a way where people talk about it as if it's a cool ticker that people talk about. Because, today people be talking about like, I'm financially ready, I got money, da 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 da, but they don't show you receipts. On here and on this channel, I showed you my receipts. You saw how much I made. Not because I wanted to stun on the gram, but because I wanted to let you know who I am. So it's vastly important for us to focus on that aspect of building financial literacy and building options and opportunities. And capital and wealth helps that. The current deal I'm currently on in Houston is going to generate almost more money in six figures. My property is going to be a six-figure property. That's how much money it generates annually. So think about that. People are taking a position, I make six figures. I'm going to make the position in the investments, and I'm going to take the time to say I make six figures and my property makes six figures, and then my next property makes six figures. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? So I'm not only making six figures, my property's making six figures, and I don't get taxed. I haven't got taxed because I know what I'm doing, like 15 years. But for you guys who get taxed, you get taxed. So, okay, you get taxed. And we can reduce that with real estate, your W-2 tax money also. But let's focus on the property now. Your property makes $100,000, but your property doesn't get taxed. The rental income that's generated by your property, the one that's making six figures, that doesn't get taxed. So when people say, I'm in a different tax bracket, I heard that in the culture. I heard that on the streams. I heard that on the airways. I'm in a different tax bracket. Me, I'm not paying taxes. I'm not on nothing. The point is not to be on the next level of a tax bracket. The purpose is not to be on the tax bracket, period. Period, point blank, period. And getting into real estate creates wealth. Check out, like, share, subscribe. Check out Bigger Pockets. I'm going to show you this, Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets create options and opportunity. Information age, utilize it wisely. People got you out here tripping on Bitcoin. They got you bugged out on all these other arbitrary things. Oh man, let's get into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the new future. It's the revolution. No, it's not. Now, digital currency, crypto, blockchain, those are future technologies that will be utilized in the financial sector. Yes. But stop falling for these shenanigans, people. I'm going to do a video about that. I'm going to go in on Bitcoin, bro. I'm going to go in. Not on the people, of course, but I'm going to go in. Look at that. Bigger Pockets. Appreciate what you do. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Jordan. I'm going to keep this show short, but Bigger Pockets, go check it out. Blog, information, podcast, how you want to consume the information and education is up to you to lead your financial liberation and destination for opportunities. So Bigger Pockets blog, and they got real estate business, buying houses. All this information is available. That's why I said, the time is different. Go back to Bigger Pockets. The time is different now. Where there's massive amounts of information. Sellers helping each out. Look, 181 investors meet up in Maryland. Look at that. South Jersey meetup. June investor meetup. And then in Art of Real Estate Investing, Philly. SJ Art EIG, Flip Tour, and Helmderfield, Leveraging Hard Money Lending in 2021 panel. These are people linking up, like-minded individuals who want to take over the game. Real Estate Hackers Conference, how to run the numbers for a rental burst strategy. How to run the numbers for a rental burst strategy. Meetups, greet ups, conferences. Are sellers motivated by the buyer's down payment amount? So people are asking for investment strategies, negotiation tactics. Anyone seen BlackRock impact on housing? In which areas? Seller did not disclose undersized septic. All types of questions. 14 replies, 35 replies. People are providing information, helping each other out to create wealth. What streams and networking platforms are you on? Are you on the IG? Are you on the Facebook? Are you on the TikTok? Well, spend some time on the bigger pockets. Spend some time on something that's going to have a return on your investment. That's why on this channel, you rarely see me trying to spend much time talking about other subjects, because I know this is one of the most important subjects. And a lot of people are not providing this good information. We need more people with more different backgrounds and perspectives on investing this information. Everybody's hitting you up with the new Bitcoin, the latest fad, the latest stock investment, the latest and greatest this on the market, the latest and greatest this in the business, I'm trying to map out to you and break that mentality why you need to be rich in order to get into real estate. You already got into real estate. You're just in a renter's position. Let's get you out of that. Or you're in the I own a home and I live in it. I'm the ownership position. That's not a good position. We need to get you out of that. We need to get you out of that. We need to get your assets, meaning your non-home real estate, paying for your home in the long run, for your single family home, if you so desire, options and opportunity. So I'm going to keep it like around 30 minutes. What link? Let me know that what link, Brandon, because I'm like, what link do you need? Bigger Pockets link? Which one? The link to the book? So I know which link you're talking about before I get out of here so I can deliver the link. Because everything's going to be in the description. But I'll drop it in the link in the actual chat right now. So let me know before we get out of here. Let's see. So that's the important part. Thanks for coming in. And we got 10 people out here in the building. If anybody wanted to come on the show, let me know before we get out of here. Always like to send an invite, talk about finances. We need to link up. He said we need to link up. Okay, bet. Excuse me. All right, cool. So the Bigger Pockets will be in the description. And also I'm going to put that book that I had also. I'm going to put that in the description so you guys can have that, because that was a great book. That was nothing but heat and fire. And read these books. Listen to these podcasts. Listen to these audios related to real estate. I listen to multifamily, Tribe on Bigger Pockets. Shout outs to Travis and there's two people on it. There's two hosts. They're amazing. Travis and the other guy, the other brother's name, but they always talk about real estate. They go over the numbers. You see the numbers. You can understand in the lingo and the terminology, and then you can start taking over into real estate. So in order to be great, you must focus on cultivating the proper knowledge. A good amount of people in this world work hard. I'm not going to not say that. Like, you know how rich people or wealthy people be like, well, I worked hard. A lot of people work hard. You feel me? Like, there's a good amount of people working hard every day, and they're smart. But the thing is, they're not financially intelligent. They don't know the right investment strategies, and they don't really understand about money and investments at all. They always say, invest in education. Well, it's time to educate yourself in investments, because you can't invest in education without properly identifying what's a good investment. Remember that. Much love. Like, share, subscribe. I already know the channel. And you already know what the slogan is. Every day, all day, we all we got. Right here on this channel, we define the difference between guns and butter. And what's butter? Cars, clothes, jewelry, parties, all the stuff that don't matter after you buy it. What's the guns? Art, real estate, stocks and bonds, crypto, things that appreciate. So as we say, always be great. Right here, certified do-it-yourself, receipts proven channel. And I want you guys to be financially intelligent and stop only working hard, but work financially intelligently. We all we got. Obstacles, the opportunity. We all we got. Peace.